a rental company, you're essentially a bank and your currency is equipment.
You need to mix up your fleets. You need to have a great story.
If you look at any good NFL team, college team, they got to be good at the basics before they start running the trick plays.
You have to know the rental business. You have to be able to explain why you're going to be successful while other people aren't.
If you care for the success of others, they're going to care for your success as well. And we raise the entire bar as an industry.
Yeah. Keep coming with it. Keep coming with it. Keep coming with it. Place your bets on us. Get your money and flip it.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Rental Roundtable, episode number 112. We've got on Constantin Cornita. Constantin, welcome to the show today.
Hi, Kyle. Thanks for having me. I've been watching the show, and it's nice to be on the other side of the show.
All right, you're on the hot seat today, though. So, I don't grill people too hard. Mostly conversation. Well, thanks for being a listener. And excited to talk today. You are the founder and CEO of Active Sales, an agency that runs Google and Bing ads exclusively for equipment rental companies. There's a lot of marketing people out there, but you just only work with equipment rental companies. So go to your website, activesalesppc.com, and the headline, when renters search for equipment, they find you first. So you're directly working with independent rental companies, stop losing revenue to United Rentals and Sunbelt. We build high-performance Google Ads campaigns specifically for equipment rental companies. So our audience is that, and excited to talk about all things marketing and how they can continue to grow their business today.
Exactly. Yeah. We do Google Ads and Bing Ads, less Bing than Google, but it's exclusively for rental companies. I would say medium, small rental yards. And we focus mostly on search, where the demand is there, where the users search for you first.
High intent, bottom of funnel, they're ready to rent, right?
Exactly.
Well, I love to start every episode, as you know, here's your background and history. Obviously, you have a marketing background, and then you kind of shifted into equipment rental. Tell us about your story. How'd you get here today?
I started with Google Ads directly, and I kind of want to say I do Google Ads. I don't do marketing as the whole. We focus just on Google Ads, just mostly on search. And I'm doing that for rental companies for more than 4 years already. I started with a company in the UK. Then we moved across the entire Europe. And there, in that company, I've met Josh Nickell from Northside Tour Rental. Then when he moved to Northside Tour, we started working together, and we are doing a good job for him. Started getting more clients into the US. All of them happy. So moving forward to the US market with rental companies.
Awesome. So Google Ads for independent equipment rental companies in the US. So there's your niche, right? And if you are one of those people, you should be talking to Constantin and Josh Nickell, Northside Tour, 6 locations in Atlanta. One of the locations is 5 minutes from me, actually. I know Josh well. So
2 of them opened recently. So
they're doing great. So talk to me about like why the rental industry, right? Because you could do Google Ads for any sort of vertical. You can even go horizontal and kind of just do generic Google Ads for any sort of customer. Why did you decide to focus on this niche of the market?
Rental business has some high value products, has intent. So Google Ads works perfectly for this kind of businesses. There are businesses where you need to drive more video ads, more brand awareness, like where it's the purchase process is impulsive. On the rental, you will not stay on a Saturday night scrolling, seeing an excavator ad and saying, okay, maybe I will need one next week. No, you need it today, you need it for tomorrow. You search on Google, you find it, you call that company, and you get it delivered the next day. That's why Google Ads works very well for this type of business, and that's why we focus on it.
Makes a lot of sense. When I'm on social media, I'm buying stuff at Saturday night. Probably not needed, but these are needs, not wants. If you need a skid steer, you need a skid steer. Not if you don't, maybe you don't even want one, you need one, right? And you're really bottling up that demand that typically has been captured by the nationals, right? They have professional teams of big staff and big budgets. Can the independents really fight back, and can they win market share on Google Ads against United and Sunbelt?
You cannot beat a billion company without $1 billion, but locally, yes, because you are that local guy. You are a small company in Atlanta, for example, and when you manage a big account, let's say Sunbelt's account, you do ads across the entire nation. You cannot be so specific. You cannot say skid steer rental in Marietta. They will probably say skid steer in Atlanta, skid steer in Georgia, maybe. They will have those keywords. When you are so local, Google increases your quality score because of the relevance, and you can pay less, so you can outbid the national, the big ones, by being local. Your website has to be local. Your Google Ads copy has to be local, and that's how you can beat the nationals.
Yeah, the nationals are trying to win market share nationally. This is the name of the name national. And I think what you're saying is, if you're independent, you've got one location or two locations in Brainerd, Minnesota, or wherever you are, you can actually beat them because you're hyper focused in that vertical, in that niche, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of what you're saying.
When we look at the auction insights and you see who are you competing in your local auction, we always beat them. You can see below us the Sunbelt, the Home Depot. They are below our customers. Locally, we beat them.
Yeah. And obviously the local rental company's not trying to beat United Nationals. They pick their battle. They want to win in this subset of Atlanta, and a very focused rental company only focused on that subset of Atlanta will beat United, who is scattered. Even if they have $1 billion, they got to spread that across the country, right? Yeah. So one of the things we hear a lot from rental companies, I'm sure you do, is like, oh, I don't need marketing. I can grow word of mouth. And that's how I've done it. I've been doing it for 80 years that way. Word of mouth, right? And obviously in rental, reputation and word of mouth is important. That is part of growth, but it's not always the only thing. Is word of mouth all you need in marketing, or tell me why that's not necessarily true?
Word of mouth is a gold mine, I would say, and it's really important. But if someone searches on Google for skid steer rental near me, it means they didn't ask their buddy about a recommendation, but they are asking Google about a recommendation. So the demand is already there. So someone is searching for it. You are not showing an ad in front of someone searching for something else. They ask Google, give me a recommendation about someone renting this specific equipment near me. So the myth of word of mouth, it's there. And I actually had a client, still having that client. They are 40 years in the business, big family-owned company. They are doing big machinery, like the Testmec M5, the big ones, trenchers, vermeers, in Texas. And he had a location, doing well, word of mouth, working just fine for them. Then they opened a new location, and it was quiet. The phone call was not ringing. In that new location, nobody knew about them. So they reached out, and the interesting thing is that the owner even told me that I don't really believe in this Google Ads thing, but I don't have other things to try. So let's try it. But I'm not, I don't think it will work. We started, and in the first week, they got a call valued at $40,000. The next day, another call, $50,000, $52,000. It was a big company out of state, having a project in Texas, needing to do a trencher city to city. So they didn't know anybody here locally. They searched on Google, they found them, and they called them. So yeah, word of mouth is good, but when someone types on Google, you have to treat Google as another mouth that will recommend you. And you have to be there, because if you will not be there, that customer will call one of your competitors, not you. So, and it's good. You get that first client from Google, you do a good service, and then he will be another word that will another mouth that will recommend you. So this perfect combo of first contact from Google, then doing a good service, then word of mouth from now on.
It doesn't take that many rentals at that price point to pay for the Google ads, right?
It was paid within the first day. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's a specific company. They do just this big machinery. It's not so often with some smaller general companies like the skid steers and stuff.
Do you have any sense of what percentage of rentals involve some sort of internet search? What I'm saying is, if you have 100 rentals at Northside Tool Rental, for example, how many of those just showed up at the store, and how many of that did a Google search and they either went through an SEO ranking or they saw a paid ad and clicked on it? Data I saw from the ARA, I'll give you my answer second. I want to hear your answer, what you think it is.
For a healthy business, Google ads should be around, I don't know, like from 10, 20%. If you rely just on Google ads to give you 80%, 90% of your business, that's not a healthy business. Google ads should be like a snowball. You get 20% from Google ads now, then it starts rolling. Those customers, they like your service, then they purchase again from you, they rent again from you, but organically just calling you, and so on, and your business grow. But you need that first touch from Google.
Yeah, obviously, if the first touch is the Google ad, but then if you keep going with them, you're not going to click the Google ad. What about new customer growth, like new first-time renters with your store? Is that number is probably much higher than 20% then, right?
And that's the number we focus on. When we say 20%, it's new customers.
20% of new customers.
Yeah.
And when we talk about Google ads, we're talking about spending money on paid ads, Google, not SEO, organic stuff that is free, right? We're just saying spending money. So if you're a rental company not spending any money on Google ads, you're potentially missing out on 10 to 20% of your customers. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And how do you how much budget do you need to get started for something like this? And are there scenarios where it doesn't make sense to do Google ads? Because I'm imagining a rental company listening to this and they're saying, okay, this sounds good, but that's probably not for me. My market doesn't make sense, or I'm not so sure about this. How do you actually understand and know that this makes sense for a rental company?
It's always based on search volume, based on demand. The owners that don't know if it's worthy for it, they can contact us and we can do a research for them and say that there are 1,000 searches for skid steer rental near me in your area month. There are 700 searches for excavator near me. There are 720 for boom lifts rental near me, and so on. And we see the demand. If there is enough demand in your area and you can cover that area, it makes sense for some small rural businesses where they cover like 500,000 population around their 30 miles delivery radius. Maybe for them it's not worth it. They are not at that level. But if you have at least a city like 3 million population city around you and you can serve that city, it's worth it.
And the good news about this, it's like very scientific. You can see what search volume is, what's your cost per click. You can run a test. You can see you got 50 clicks turned into 20 rental, right? You can see all that and track it. And I think the other part is that's probably the floor, because I imagine you're also you're creating new renters that you can't directly track, meaning someone saw your paid ad and they maybe clicked on the organic link, or they saw your paid ad and just called you and they didn't click on the on the call button directly, right? So I think what you're going to be able to report on the floor, and there's actually much, much higher in terms of success here, right?
We can actually track most of the calls, and we always, when we take a new client, we start the tracking, and we start tracking every single call, every single click that happens from Google Ads. We use third-party tools to actually track those calls. And when you say that they see the number, but they call directly without clicking on it, we have tools that switch your number on your website, and we have like 10 numbers switching dynamically for each new user. So we know exactly that that number was displayed for that specific user at that specific time. So if someone called on that number, it means it came from that specific keyword, from that specific campaign, from that specific ad group at that specific period of time. So we can report that this Google Ads campaign spent this month $1,000 and generated you this number of calls valued at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Because we make our clients to go on that tool and add the value for each call. So that's how we knew about that client in Texas, because the client added the 40,000 and 52,000 value for those calls. And then we are able to send back to Google those numbers, the values. And we know specifically which keywords generated how much in Google Ads. And then we can train Google Ads into generating more high value calls, not just calls. So we are not focusing on clicks at all. We are not focusing on impressions. We are not focusing even on calls, but on high quality calls.
And eventually revenue, right? Are you saying you can tie that all the way back to revenue to some level?
Yeah. We are focusing on the revenue.
Yeah, and we had there's a customer probably 5 years ago we're working with. They were acquired by a national, and they got, they signed the term sheet, and they said, "All right, we're going to turn off our marketing ads because we've sold the company, right? We're saving money." And the phone stopped ringing, and shows you why this was good. But they couldn't actually say, "Well, we wish we knew that this budget went to these 3 renters," and they turned the budget back on, and the phone started going, and they sold the company, right? But one, to make it 2 points. One, it shows that this stuff works, number one. Number two, you have to track it. And a lot of rental companies who aren't super sophisticated on marketing, or they're not working with a group like you guys, they don't always track it. And there's a measurement gap that's kind of always hard with marketing. I think marketing budget's always been well, how do you know it works? And what you're saying is you guys have invested a lot in tooling and really closed that measurement gap.
Yeah, and most of the clients don't know that. A recent client of us, they had a pretty nice budget on Google Ads because they came from the tech world. So they say that, yeah, we have to do Google Ads. They were doing it, but they didn't really know the outcome of that. And they were struggling with attributing the value for Google Ads. They were running ads. As you say, the phone was ringing. They were stopping it, not ringing, but you don't know really the difference and how much the Google Ads generated you. And they didn't even know if the phone is ringing because of Google Ads or because of the banner we have outside, and a lot of people is seeing it this month. And being able to track every single call to attribute it to the Google Ads spend, it's really valuable for that. And that's making our job much easier, because at the end of the month, we can say, yeah, we spent that amount, but we generated you 5 times more, 6 times more, just from the first rental. But then you will do a nice job, a nice service to that customer, and you will have them repeating business with you. So we can back up our numbers, and we don't have to convince them that, yes, it's working, it's not working. We can show the numbers.
What sort of, I know the answer is it depends on 1,000 different variables, but in terms of expectations, right? If a rental company, pick a number, maybe they're spending $1,000 or $5,000 a month, what sort of range of revenue should they expect? Either there's different metric, return on ad spend or whatever the metric is. What sort of range should rental companies be thinking about when they work with a professional group like Active Sales?
5-6 times.
On revenue. So if you spend $10,000, you think you should be getting 50 to 60,000 in revenue.
Exactly. Yeah. On the first rental.
It's pretty good. And what's stopping more rental companies from doing this, in your opinion?
I don't know. They don't know us yet. And most agencies, when I see someone reporting on clicks, and I see that with our current customers, we start reporting to them, and they open our report and, how many clicks did we got last month? I don't care about how many clicks you got last month. It's not about clicks. I can report you on the phone calls. And if the client does his job of adding the value, we can report on the value as well. They have that historically from other agencies, that the other agencies were reporting on clicks, and actually we are doing much less clicks for our clients than they were getting previously with other agencies, for example. And they were used to, last month with the other agency, we got 5,000 clicks. Why you have just 800? Yeah, but and they also focus on the cost per click, and they're saying the cost per click with the other agency was 80 cents, $1. Why yours cost $5? Yeah, one of our clicks cost $5, but out of 10 clicks, you will get a phone call, and that phone call will be a rental of an excavator. And if you sum it up, you will spend like $50 and you will get a phone call for someone wanting to rent an excavator from you. While before with the other agency, you could get even more calls, but those calls were tire kickers, small homeowners asking about a drill or some equipment that you may not have, and you just lose your time, your operator's time with those low quality customers. What we do, we focus just on high value equipment. We usually start in Google Ads with loaders, mini excavators, trenchers, skid steers, loaders, lifts, all sorts of lifts, forklifts, telehandlers, like the big ones. We are not doing mowers, chainsaws, and other small equipment. Because if you would spend $50 for a mini excavator, it makes sense. The math makes sense. But if you will spend $50 for a call that will call someone and ask for a chainsaw, it doesn't make sense.
Well, last time I heard clicks doesn't make payroll, right? And I think it's interesting, like what you optimize for. If you're optimizing for clicks, you get one answer. If you're optimizing for revenue, you get a very different answer, and your cost per click may be 5 times higher. But who cares? Because you're driving revenue behavior and even probably high profit behavior based on the type of equipment you're renting, right? So I think that's where a lot of marketing agencies get wrong. They're like, look at our cost per click, look at all the clicks and leads we got, but they don't convert, and they'll convert to high quality customers that are repeat renters or high revenue renters. Who cares, right? And if you're going to spend whatever the money is, $10,000 a month, it doesn't take that many rentals to get that 5x return. Especially if it's on bigger equipment. Yeah. And I think that's what's interesting about what you guys have done is you've really focused on the end result, which is at the end of the day, revenue.
And like Google is selling clicks. What you are selling, it's not clicks. You are selling the equipment.
Yeah.
You are renting the equipment.
And Google's very happy to optimize for clicks, right? That's kind of their game, right?
Of course. We have Google reps all the time calling us and, hey guys, we want to show you some tips on how to spend more. Yeah.
Here's how you spend more money for less results,
Of course.
No, I think that's why it's so important, the attribution and kind of closing that loop and that learning behavior and saying, okay, these sort of ads drove this sort of revenue behavior and these other ones didn't work as well. And you kind of circle that. And I think obviously with your focus in equipment rental, you kind of know a lot of that. You said start with skid steers, loaders, you kind of learn that with customers. Yep. One question I have is when you're starting off with the first customer, do you typically focus on B2B customers, homeowners? How do you think about like the first starting place to really drive quick wins when you start off?
On search, it's quite tricky to split B2B from B2C. Like someone searching excavator rental near me can be a B2B or can be a B2C. You cannot really know because search is based on the keyword that you are targeting. But we do it in several ways. And also, our customers, they tend to say that we want more B2B orders, more B2B customers. If a B2C customer will call you and ask for an excavator for a week and will pay you $1,500, you'll be happy. You will not say, okay, we are not renting you because you are not a B2B. So what the competition is not between B2B and B2C, but it's more between the products. Our customers want their higher value products to go out, and they think that the higher value products are rented by B2B. That's why they say that they want B2B. But the filter is by the product. And also when we start, we have to feed all that data into the account. As I said, that we get the value, and if we see that this keyword generated as a rental of 300, and the same keyword with another order generated as 1,000, next time we want to focus on that user that generated us 1,000. And we can do that by feeding all this data back to Google Ads. But before we get all that data, we have to start with something. And we start also with these different products, because if you will have a call about a mower on a Friday, most probably that customer is a homeowner needing that mower for the weekend. If you will have someone calling you on Monday morning asking about an excavator, I guess that's more probably to be a contractor needing that excavator. It's not 100% sure, but the percentage of the Monday morning being commercial, it's higher than on Friday for a mower. So that's why we focus on specific products for B2B, like forklifts. Forklifts are not usually rented by B2C. Forklifts are usually rented by commercial. So that's why we focus on those ones.
So it's less about saying, hey, we're going to do homeowner or contractor. It's more, you're focused on bigger, more expensive equipment, which drives more revenue, more profit, but at the end of the day, probably moves more towards B2B just from the nature of what they're renting, like a forklift, for example.
Yeah. And also our keywords are specific, like Bobcat T50. I don't know, like a term that a homeowner will not know. And we don't even do generic keywords at the beginning. When we take a new account, we don't use to do equipment rental companies near me or equipment rental near me. Such keywords, because B2B customer, a contractor knows what he needs. He needs that skid steer specifically. A homeowner just needs to find an equipment rental company nearby, go to their website, see, oh, I need this one. I will give them a call and ask about that product. So the keywords are also another filter towards B2B. And once we already know, Google already know the user that is more probably B2B, then we start adding more generic keywords, because the demand is limited. You cannot spend $10,000 just on specific keywords. So we reach a limit. Then to go up to increase the demand, we have to go to other keywords.
Yeah. So you guys bid on more specific product names that are high value, because people searching for equipment rental near me are typically smaller homeowners. Bigger contractors know exactly what they want, and if you do that, though, there is a limit, right? There's a limit to how much you can spend in certain market for these certain keywords.
Yeah, and when I told you about that client that was spending $5,000 a month on a city with a population of 3 million, and we took over the account, and they told us that's our budget, and the first 2 months we couldn't spend that budget because there was not enough demand for good keywords to spend all that budget, and we just didn't spend the budget. And they were kind of impressed on why we didn't spend, because we cannot guarantee you that, like we spent 3.5K, we cannot guarantee you that the other 1.5K would generate you revenue at the same, like 6 times more revenue that this first 3.5K.
It's like, hey, client, here's the good news is we got you $40,000 rental. Bad news is we didn't spend all of our budget. It's like, it's actually probably pretty refreshing where you're not just spending money to spend money. You're like, no, it doesn't make sense to spend this anymore. We're going to pull it back, right?
Yeah.
Last question I have really is around why you guys focus just on search on PPC, not more the brand awareness channels? Is brand awareness, we're talking about like things that pay off over a longer period of time, a brand play. Does that make sense for smaller rental companies, or is that something that, the most part, they shouldn't be focused on that, focus on high ROI marketing budgets that return its dollar every month?
Yeah. As I said before, you will not scroll on a Saturday and and saying that I will need that excavator. I'm not saying that brand awareness it's not necessary and it's not good, but I think it's not good for small rental yards. When you start doing marketing, you have to focus on the low hanging fruits, like the search. Someone is searching for you, you appear, you will rent that equipment. Then, if you will reach that limit and you will want to scale more and more, you can start building some brand awareness. But the brand awareness is not immediate. Someone will see your ad, you will be in their mind. Next time they will think of renting something, they probably will think about you. They will go on Google, search for your name, and call you. But small yards need immediate results, and immediate results you can offer that just with search specific.
Makes a lot of sense.
Google and Bing, because Bing it's also the search of Bing. It's also a good platform. It's much smaller.
I haven't heard Bing in a while. I mean, is that, I imagine, is 90% budget go to Google, 10% to Bing, something like that?
8 to 10.
8 to 10.
Usually we see 10% of the traffic in Bing.
Don't sleep on Bing.
But the good thing about Bing, and that same customer that rents big machinery, Bing works very well for them. We have much fewer calls from Bing, but when someone calls from Bing, it's a high ticket call, because Bing it's mostly corporates. They have Windows pre-installed in their computers with Bing. So when big corporate company search, they are searching on Bing, not on Google. The homeowners, they search on Google. They have Google on their phone. But if someone calls you from Bing, that's a high quality call.
Interesting.
Also, sometimes very old people that not very qualitative calls, but mostly it's commercial.
Hit or miss. You're either getting a really old person who's not renting something, didn't know what they're doing, or you're getting a high quality corporate customer potentially.
Yeah.
Well, Constantin, thanks for coming on today. I loved your focus. Active sales, ppc.com. People who want to check it out, but paid ads for independent equipment rental companies in the U.S. Very focused, and sounds like you got a lot of success. Last question I'd like to ask everyone coming on: best career advice you've gotten that's helped shape your success and what you're doing today?
Ooh, that's a question I didn't expect, but
or any career advice you've gotten that's helped shaped your success?
Focus would be a career advice, and it's focus on what we're doing. We're focusing on something specific, and it's focus on everything. When you are working, you have to be focused on your work. Yeah. When you are with your family, you have to be focused on your family. When you are on vacation, you have to be focused on that vacation. That's how you get the best results out of everything you are doing.
That's great advice. And I think I could tell, I just love your website. It's so focused. I just want people to go to your website just to see it. It's just like, there's so many like much noise out there. You're just like, this is what we do. And you're going to, 99% of people are going to, I don't need this. But the 1% is like, you're speaking directly to me because you focused on your ICP, your ideal customer profile, right? So I can even just tell the way you've designed your company, you've focused.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Constantin, for coming on, being a listener. And thanks for sharing everything today on how to run Google Ads for independent rental companies.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.